Welcome to the latest word on Black News with Brittany Jones, bringing you powerful conversations.
Black history is American history. American history is Black history. You don't study the history of America like history is a public relations exercise.
Exclusive stories.
That Black women in slavery, it's kind of like our bodies have never been our own. So you start to hear these stories, and these were stories about young women. They were not adults that was brutally raped.
Thought-provoking topics.
It's the voice of Black America right now, and it feels more like a choir than a preacher. And it's a choir that's singing on different notes, not a choir that's singing in harmony.
And transformative perspectives.
I have learned so much about myself.
Haven't we all? That inform, inspire, and ignite change. You're watching The Latest Word on Black News. Welcome back to The Latest Word on Black News. I'm your host, Brittany Jones. Always excited to be back here with you folks. Well, economic uncertainty has America under stress. Yes, we can all feel it. And it's actually hitting the Black community particularly hard. A recent survey, in fact, found that 61% of Black Americans between 18 and 35 are financially strapped, with high housing costs and unstable income topping their concerns. Well, June is Men's Health Month, and of course, we're focused on Black men's health. But here's what we're not talking about enough, though. How this financial pressure is colliding with dating expectations and actually wreaking havoc on men's mental health. The host of Before You Cancel Me shared their take on the current dating scene.
My brother. Yeah, the expectations are just too high at this point in time. Expectations are way too high.
Would you even call expectation realistic expectations or fantasy?
I mean, it is a fantasy because if it's not your reality, especially if you're expecting something that you've never had before, so you're expecting something beyond your normal realm, so it has to be referred to as fantasy. And some people's expectation is just born out of delusion. Sure, you get. So it's just like, how do you even navigate in an ocean full of delusional fishes?
Dr. Cortez Sims, board-certified life and mental health coach and owner of Precisions Plus More Salons, is with us now. He's a mental health coach and a master barber who's bringing actual mental health expertise to a space where men have always gone for real talk and advice. I know y'all be talking about us. Dr. Sims, welcome to The Latest Word.
Thank you. Yes, we do be talking about a lot of stuff.
And so let's talk about your background. Did you start as a master barber and then become a board certified mental health coach, or was it the other way around?
I started as a learning prodigy child in my mom's home, watching her as a licensed cosmetologist or beautician in Chicago, and grew into a hobby, didn't know that it was a career as a barber. So yeah, then I went to a master barber, and then out of being a master barber has became the actual life mental health coach. Yes.
Like, how did you end up connecting those?
Well, it was easy for me because, I didn't realize I was always doing the actual skill set. I never even had a title for it. For me, it was more like I was just happy that people were actually applying a lot of different tips that I was giving them. And what was funny is I was kind of repeating in my early years when I had like no adult experience. I was cutting older men because hair doesn't have an age. It's just hair. So
Right.
seniors were in my chair. We had middle age. We had adults. We had teenagers. We had children. I had women, senior women, women with disabilities. So all walks of life fall into your chair. So I'm gaining information all the time, even wisdom. And I was able to kind of like repeat different things that I heard from someone else because that's what we do. Hey, that's a similar story. I heard this one lady say, so I did a lot of anonymous talk that was helping people. And then before I started having my own life experiences, and then I realized I can really, really relate to that because this is a common thing. And then when some of the men will actually share, and then it became room talk. Now I know that it was becoming effective. So I was like, oh my goodness. And so how I realized it was more than just a haircut. People were coming back just to visit, but not get a haircut. Or they really didn't need a haircut. They want to go ahead and continue the conversation. That was life changing to them, maybe a week or two later, or maybe days later. And I was like, this is a thing here. I realized that I'm speaking into people's lives, and I have to be very, very careful on the things that I quote.
That's good. So you're actually in a unique position as both, like we said, a mental health coach and master barber. What dating struggles? Because we know, like you said, men come in and they talk about all sorts of things. They talk about life, they talk about women, they talk about whoever they're dating, right? So how does that kind of create a space for them to open up when they sit in your chair?
It's been known in a lot of different settings that the barbershop is the cultural neighborhood of counseling safe spaces. We say it now in counseling, right?
Mhm.
Counseling, coaching, and therapy. It's a safe space to just be yourself, and someone in that room can be able to say some stuff that you either were thinking about, never considered, or it's some wisdom that was free. Without feeling like you made an appointment, you need an insurance card to make an appointment to be with this kind of licensed professional. So going to a barbershop was one of those places where all of your opinions were actually welcome. And
Right.
so when you come into a setting like that, you're like, hey, what do you guys think? And even if you've just been messy, somebody can check you and be like, you know what, that's a bunch of mess. Can you please stop talking about that? So outside of sports and entertainment and what's on the news and what's in the newspaper, because a lot of men used to, open up the newspaper, read a lot of the different things that's going on. It was just that common conversation in dating. Now, when it comes to dating, oh my God. We all had the common denominator. We were like, what do we need to do to actually approach this woman? Or, what's out here? Well, what is the newest trend? So a lot of the different difficulties had a lot to do with, do I keep up? Do I change who I am? First of all, I need to get to know who I am. Because remember, the barbershop is the place to build up your self-esteem and to
Mhm.
keep your appearance correct and how to present and how to approach. And all
Mhm.
of those different things happen in a barbershop. And if you don't feel good about yourself, this is why a lot of us invest into getting yourself together because if you feel better, you feel like you'll do better. Now, you're getting yourself prepared for whether you're still with someone who you're going to meet and all of that, that's a whole different thing. So we're usually kind of nervous without even saying it. And a lot of us going off of things that probably was not good information that we get from the
Yes.
house or we get from the family, where we feel like in the barbershop, we escape all of those type of ventures and opinions, and we want to get a fresh perspective. So
Mhm.
it's a big, big deal. It's a big, big deal. And when it comes to trying to figure out how do we look for the right one, so many of us struggle with that because it's like I don't know what to look for because I'm still trying to look for myself. Also, it's so much pressure on us to be all these different things that's put on us as a human race and mankind. And then it's like some people just say, forget it. I just want to be by myself. But that's not true. We all want some type of companionship. We all want to
Yeah.
look good to get the compliment from someone else that we're going to meet. Because men don't just go out just to go out. We want to go out to find, we want to go out to enjoy, have companionship, and to be able to have bragging rights to say this is who we met as a result of looking good and feeling better and getting this beard shaved and all this other stuff. So we do a lot of the different things. No different than the cosmetology shop and the beauty shop, because I worked in those too. And I have
Yeah.
cosmetologists, that I'm connected with too. So yeah.
So yeah, also, I mean, a lot of it too is like I think kind of building even the confidence in them as well. Like you said, they come in there and then they're like they know that once they get shaped up or whatever and they go out, they're gonna be able to find that person.
Oh
But
yeah.
as as they sit there, you talk about so many levels to this, right? And money, I'm sure, comes up about how much they have to spend on trying to date. So in today's economic reality, it doesn't really match the cultural expectations men inherited from previous generations. So how does that disconnect, affect men's mental health?
Well, money is a big factor because, if we're told, whether it's from a biblical perspective or from a parental perspective, that the man has to be the provider. And if women are constantly saying it, and men, now that we're very much aware of that, men are looking at like, is there anything besides monetary value that being a provider as a man is constituted as. So in other words, now men are starting to look at and it's been told in the barbershop, listen, I think I'm more than just a dollar bill because now we have the gold diggers that come to the barbershop and or not gold diggers, but just
Mhm.
more of the pimps and folks like that or the players and all of that. So all of these type of men that may have the money but don't have the character, how are you still being a provider?
Mm.
So then you have the ones that go, hey man, I work two or three jobs and I can provide, but who I'm going to give this provision to without feeling like, am I just a dollar amount? So it's been so much pressure and so many different expectations, I should say, put it on the man on money, 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 money. Where a lot of the men is like, okay, I do have the money, but what if I pick someone who has money too? But what about just my character? What
Yeah.
about the way I treat you? What about if I find value if you have other values in family? And what about if I have too many children because I could take care of myself. So this is Mr. Independent is going on. But what a lot of men are started saying is that the boss chick, being Miss Independent, and I could do this all by myself. They feel like we're in competition with the masculinity and the femininity. Because how can I be a masculine man when I'm told I need to provide, I need to conquer, I need to go ahead and make sure this is mine and all that other stuff. So there's a lot of different things that's being talked about besides money. And but if your money is low, but you have good value, you have good self-esteem, and your self-worth is becoming more valuable to you, because a lot of them are understanding now that if I'm a good person, I can go out to get the money, but what I
Mm-hmm.
attract, what I'm becoming. And a lot of them feel like the pickings are slim with who to pick that can connect with me. If all you talk about is being a provider and getting monies from me, what about the rest of me?
Mm.
So that's the
Does
big issue now.
That's a big issue. And do you think that plays into that role of what we're hearing the term delusional dating, if you will?
Big time. Because what's been said now is that is it's being looked at like a lot of people who claim that they want things, but they don't want it to become what they want. And a lot of people have not became what they're looking for. So that man is like, wait a minute. So you want me to be all these different things to you, but when it comes to, for me to look for you, then you're half of it, or you felt like, okay, I could become that once you do these things. Now it feels like
Yeah.
I got to perform and put on just for you to be turned on and turn and look this way. And it's like that's a lot of complexities, I should say.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, it's like, man, I had a beautiful scenario that just happened Friday. A young man who's working on himself. I know him personally, of course. And there's another lady who I know about her too. And they actually cross paths as I'm closing my store, you know. And of course, I'm not thinking like this. I'm just saying, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? So I'm cutting her children's hair. I just cut his hair. He looks very groomed and nice because he's presenting well, leaving the barbershop. She just come just to pick up her kids. And then I get a message from her saying, hey, I'm interested in that guy. I
Oh,
was like, I don't want to do a matchmaker. Is this the barbershop? And, and I translate the information. And so he goes, well, if she felt that way, how come she didn't say nothing? I'm just like, so it's just interesting how people can just meet each other in passing, and it's not even about, how much money you have. But instantly I could tell that he was all about, well, do I even add up to who she thinks she want to get? Because I got this. So he was instantly attacking his value, his worth, and all of that, and hadn't even had a conversation because of what he's used to facing when it comes to someone who present very nice, and she's a very attractive lady and all of that. And I was like, so do I exchange your number, sir, so you could take the lead and go ahead and go forward so you can start dating? Oh, let me think about that. And I haven't heard from him about it since. And this is Friday and today is Sunday.
so you don't even know if your Cupid role is even gonna play out.
Correct. Because you already had this stigma of, well, I have a certain profile in my head of what I would like to have, but in order for me to become that, I only think I may only attract this type of person because I'm not there yet. And then when I start sharing what I like, it only gives me this type of person, which is all self-esteem and self-worth and everything that you just mentioned. But then I can't tell him as an advocate person, the barber and counselor, everything that I know that she really looking for, because that's for him to discover. But what I'm saying is, there are a lot of men individuals as well as the other opposite, because I also cut women hair too, who already have their guards up or what they think is going to look like for them because of what's commonly said in the society, in the community, in their dating life. And that really plays with them mentally because they already think this way and they act it out emotionally, which makes them guarded. Yeah, I don't know if I want to deal with that. So fear fights them before they even feel victorious.
Mm, that's a word.
Yeah, yeah,
And you talk about too, like what society looks at. Big part of that is social media. We know
it is.
social media creates unrealistic dating expectations. So how do you help men focus on what's actually a realistic for their situation?
What I try to do is go towards okay. I would say like customization. I try to customize. Well, listen, sir, let's just talk about your own personal profile. Let's get away from the computer, all the social media stuff, because social media is a whole bunch of opinions with a little information, is my perspective, right?
Okay.
So I said, okay, so here we go. Let's just talk about you and where you are in your life and what you're looking for, your needs, your wants, and what you're after. And when I customize it according to them, then let's lot attach opinions and public demands and stuff to your life because that's not your portion. And so I really try to help them change their posture and don't attach yourself to other opinions that doesn't pertain to you. That is not your story, not your narrative, and that doesn't have to be your outcome too. But if you keep subscribing to that and attaching other people's views, then you're going to be so convoluted and so clouded with others' opinions, you're not going to ever get to you. And before you know it, you're going to be a different age and older, and you're going to lose all opportunities, which was we always say in business, in acronyms, POOR,
Mm.
passing over opportunities repeatedly. You're going to stay in a poor position regularly because you allow yourself to pass over stuff that did not pertain to you at all. That's not your narrative. So I do a lot of that type of stuff in the chair. I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I do want to hear to understand, but it doesn't mean because I understand, I agree. So you don't
Mhm.
have to attach to stuff that you don't agree with and make it a different story. We work a lot of, work very, very hard to become, but how about we just be?
Mm.
And as we be, we process to become. We so busy trying to become that we never reach it. Now we have these unrealistic expectations and we heartbroken within, and then you feel like, oh, I'm never going to get what I'm looking for. That's ideal, but it's just so unreachable. It's not tangible at all. And then we just allow life to pass us up, and love, dating, and everything. You have this mindset, and it becomes very mentally anguish, I would say. Now you hard on
Yes.
yourself. Now you just start saying, that could never be me. Now depression falls in. Now you start to have this. Then, if somebody like this situation, when a perfect match does happen, you didn't look for it, he's frozen. He's almost paralyzed. He said, I don't know what to do with it because I have my idea of what I would like. And this is beautiful, So I'm like, so you're stuck, huh? He was like,
Mm.
yeah. I was like, wow. I said, so do you always freeze up and cut in moments like this? He was like, yeah. He said, well, let me think about it. But see, his version, here it is. His version of thinking of stuff can be thinking for weeks. And that person, by the time he makes up his mind, she might be like, hey, I didn't think he was interested.
Yeah, deuces.
Yeah. Because the
Yeah.
window of opportunity left because nobody, I mean, a woman to me is only supposed to express, hey, I'm going to express an interest. Here's my information. I would love for him to lead in a
Yep.
conversation. And that's what I was pretty much telling him. Well, she's waiting for you to say something. What would you like for me to convey? And I'm not going to be in it. I don't do matchmake. I just pass the message on as your barbershop, as your,
Right.
that's it. That's it.
You did your part. So what are some reasonable first date expectations for both parties? What do you think?
Um, outside of social media.
Yeah.
And I'm saying
First
it because
date
remember,
expectations. Yeah, because
okay.
social media show you that he put you on a helicopter, put you on a plane, flew you to Dubai. Come on.
Are you dating the person or their highlight reel? If you enjoyed part 1, watch part 2 of Dr. Cortez on delusional dating and its impact on black men's mental health.